Okay, team. So this video is meant to walk you through the course review checklist for the MOL, MOG, MKP. I'm just going to particularly take one course that's in the MOL and walk you through all the places that I have previously identified as a Tier 1 issue for us to be looking at right now. So remember the difference is MOG, we're going to have to be changing the time to 7:30 a.m. So let's look quickly at that sheet because that's going to be the basis of this conversation. So I'm really going to go through step by step and show you how I've done this historically and like where you can make some shortcuts when you're doing things that you can do things more at one time. Okay, so we say ensure proper dates and times. That's actually not going to be the first thing that I look at. I'm going to be doing a few of these things with the syllabus, the weighting of grades, a view of the modules, and then I'm going to actually, when I'm looking at the assignments, that's when I'm going to be changing the dates. If it's in the business program, I'll do this in the early stages. And so we'll take a look at this though. So first thing I'm going to do is check for a syllabus. So the course I'm currently looking at for me is HSW 207. So come up to course, and just to be sure you're in the right place, so hopefully you all have access to the course masters. This just makes it a little bit better for you. So we're looking at HSW 207, and we're going to be looking at the online version of that. So right now, first look is the welcome. Make sure all these are published and everything looks published. Okay, we see dates are in there from a previous session. I'm not going to worry about that right this second. So the good thing is we know all the content that's in there is what we're expecting to be in there, and the students can view that. So next thing was taking a look at the current syllabus. Now this actually may be the current syllabus, but this is confusing to a student to say July 21st. They're going to think, well, I'm not taking the class in July 21st, I'm taking it in September or January or whatever. So we want to pull out that particular personalization to the course. So I'm going to go ahead and just change that naming and it'll still stay the same. So I'm going to pause you for 1 second while I do that. Okay. So we're back, we've changed the name. So really all I did was remove the personalization. There was a spacing issue. Is it super necessary? Maybe not, but I think that it's easier if we can set up a precedent to make the syllabus more universal. I think it's better, and having a date in there, even if it says, hey, this is a current one, I just don't think that that's the best practice. So I've renamed it. It now looks like a master syllabus for the course. So that's one of the steps in there that's been removed. Again, when we scanned it and looked at the modules, we've actually looked at the fact that the modules that are hidden are supposed to be hidden are hidden, and that's not the case in this course, and that the modules meant to be visible are published, and we did see that that is the case. So what I'd like to look at now is eliminating the weighting of assignments. So that's in grades. Now it may not exist. Easy way to check, you come up to so you go into the gradebook, you go to set group weights, and if this button is checked, so now see how it is in there right now, 70 and 30. The important thing is this box isn't checked. If it was checked, it would do 70-30 weighting, which they don't want. You will sometimes see discussions and assignments at 0, and you will see weight the final grade. That will totally throw off the grade book because it'll basically say, hey, all that work you're doing, it's worth no points. So that's not accurate either. So we want to make sure that this checkbox is unchecked. Okay, see, we're moving right along on this. So we have looked at assignments. Okay, so that's something we're going to probably go to. Well, one thing, we know that this is not a course that's in the business program, so we're not going to have to enable conferences, but let me show you where that is. So if we were in the course, you would go to settings, and then you're going to go to navigation. And this is something that I believe is tier 2 for other things. We want to get this here in one uniform display. It would be so nice if the students would see the same type of display in all their courses, but we'll worry about that down the road. So if this was a business course, we would drag conferences up, and once we've done that, we would click Save. Now I don't want it to save, so I'm not even going to bother with that. And once I go out, it's not going to matter because it's going to reset. So you're not going to see conferences still because I didn't save my navigation. Okay, so I'm going to pause for a second while I continue reading through the list. Okay, well, I think the thing that I'd like to look at next is point value and also any 0-point assignments. So I see one right here, the pre-class assignment. So let's go back to the gradebook and just look at the assignments. So remember, one of the things that's listed is if it is not an easily determined point value, use the display grade as letter option. So we have in the gradebook, we'll start at the beginning, and we are 50 points, 50 points, 50 points, the 0 points, 100 points, 100 points, 100 points, and 200 points. All right, so I think we're going to make two changes here. So at this assignment, so you're actually going to go into it. You have to go into it to make this change, so you click Edit. And now we're at a point where it's graded, yes, but instead of displaying it as points and giving them 0 points, we're going to do the complete, incomplete. Okay, so that's one part of it. You know, if you want, since we already know that we're going to be doing this, let's go ahead and put this pre-class assignment and let's put in the date that we want this. I think this is the right date. I'll have to look. Yeah, Thursday. Okay. And we're going to save it. So we've actually done a few of the steps that we needed to from right here. Now there was one other place in the gradebook that I wanted to make the alteration, and it's on the 200-point assignment. It's not probably the biggest deal, but it doesn't hurt to go ahead and change that one as well. And we're going to go in, and I don't actually know the date right this second, so I'm not going to make that change. But what I am going to go in and do is change this from points to letter grade. And that's going to be really cool because it's actually going to show the points that they receive and the equivalent letter grade, A, A minus, etc. Okay, so we've actually went through two more things on here. So we've gone through, if it's a 0-point assignment, we give it the complete, incomplete option in the gradebook, and we've also changed any not easily determined point value to display as a letter grade. So now I think what we have to do is go back to our actual assignments and start looking at the concept of the assignments. So we're going to do that. We're going to start. We want to go to week 1. And here we are. Okay, so a few things that we're looking at. File upload and Turnitin. That's one of the steps as well. We have to make sure on each one it says file upload. You will see sometimes it'll say file uploads accepted, PDF, .doc, .docs. That's okay. They don't need to put this. Basically, this says as long as someone uploads a file, the system will accept it. But for Turnitin, students have to submit using either a PDF or a Word document. And I think that's why sometimes they choose to filter it down to those options. So let's go ahead and take a look. So another good thing, we're looking at the rubric. So we see the assignment, it says upload, it says Turnitin. Now let's look at the rubric and see if it is grading. So we say, okay, because it's going to give you this message, and we need to make sure that this is checked. So we're not making any changes, so we can just cancel that out. So we've, again, checked numerous things in this one assignment. Now we're in here. We might as well go ahead and change the date. And so then we can know that we're doing all that we need to do. This is an online class. By having this due on the Saturday at 11:59, that's all you need to do for the assignments. So once again, you're kind of breaking them into pieces, but you're hitting a few of the things at one time. So you're both checking the rubric, you're checking the upload, you're checking Turnitin, you're changing the date, and we're doing it in this master so that hopefully the date shift works just perfectly. And we've done it once and we'll never have to change the dates again. So let's hope that that's the case. All right, so I think I'm going to pause you again while I look at a few other things and see what I want to show you next. So actually we are moving right along. The only things I still have to show you are a couple things having to do, one with discussions and one in relation to settings on discussions. So let's actually go still to the assignments tab. Now you can always get through this through the modules, but it's just as easy to go ahead right from the assignments area and click right there. So we're going to go to the pre-class assignment. Might as well start at the beginning. We have to edit this. Now, one of the things that we're going to be checking is it says to users must post before seeing replies. So that is being added. Okay, so that is one, and we're going to need to do that with each and every one of the discussions. Okay, so each of the discussions need that. One of the other things having to do with the discussions is the settings of changing how it displays. So to do that, what we're basically going to do, let me read it for you exactly. It says, under course settings, allow students to create discussions is unchecked. Under course settings, allow students to attach files is checked. And it's kind of hidden, and that's why it doesn't show up perfectly in all the courses. But what we want to do is click and you go to more options, and then you can do this. Let students attach files to discussions? Yes. Let students create discussion topics? No. We want them replying to the question asked in the forum and then replying to their classmates. And then let students edit or delete their posts. At this point in time, that is listed as a yes. That may need to change down the road, but for now we're going to leave that. And one of the other boxes you'll sometimes see checked is let students organize their own groups. And at this point in time, that's going to be generally unchecked in all classes. So these will be the only two checked. You've updated it, save the updates, and that's it. So now let's go back to the course checklist. So we've entered a date. We checked for the presence of a current syllabus, and in this case we just changed the name. We eliminated the weighting of the grades. We looked at the modules meant to be hidden are hidden. We looked at the modules meant to be visible are published. We didn't run into anything being published, or excuse me, unpublished in a module that was published, because that is something you may see, and if that happens, just communicate with the program director on that. We looked at all the assignments in the classes, and we were sure that they were all set to accept file uploads and have Turnitin enabled. This course was not in business, so we didn't have to add this, but you now know where to do that under settings, navigation, and when you make changes by dragging it up to the top part, make sure that you save those changes. We looked at the rubric, and we made sure that the checkbox for use rubric for grading was selected. We looked under the course settings to allow students to create discussions, and that was unchecked. Under the course settings, we clicked on the one to allow students to add files to the discussion. We also ensured that the discussion button in the actual assignment about requiring posting before replies are visible was checked. We changed 2 grades in the gradebook because the 0 we gave, excuse me, I'm jumping a little ahead. We actually changed the grade on 1. So on the display grade as a letter, remember it was 200 points, and I changed that to display grade as letter. So it's going to show however many points and the associated letter grade. And then we also changed the very first pre-class assignment to display as a complete, incomplete, as opposed to a 0. Down the road, Tier 2 will include some other things. And then there's also information within the course shell checklist. So we'll get around to that as well when we get to that stage. But for right now, when we talk about reviewing the courses, that's what it means. So you can certainly create your own setup of how it feels like it works to you best. This is the way I think it works best for me. So I kind of do some of the scanning in the earlier stages, and then I jump more deeply into the actual assignments and then try to take care of like 2 or 3 of the things on the checklist at that time. So I'm more than happy to help you with any questions you may have, and I hope this helps you with the navigation. If you feel I've missed out on anything, please let me know. All right, thanks.